Just saw a post where someone was frustrated that a coworker kept leaving early, even though it didn't impact them. It reminded me of something that happened to me a while back. I worked for a large insurance company, OmniCorp Solutions, with offices in several states. I was based in the Austin branch. Each division could choose whether to implement a flexi time policy. Most did. The core hours were 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., so everyone had to be at their desk during that window. Our customer service lines were open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. As long as there was phone coverage from 9:10 and 4:05, management was flexible about how we managed our schedules. Since I lived the farthest out, near San Marcos, I chose, after getting approval, to come in at 8 a.m. every day and leave at 4 p.m. to avoid the brutal I-35 traffic. I had worked these hours for nearly 4 years without a single issue. That is until I transferred to the Commercial Accounts Division. Despite there consistently being phone cover until 6 p.m., the office was officially open 8 a.m., 6 p.m., my new teammates had a problem with me being the only one who left at 4 p.m. They complained constantly to our department manager, David. He offered them every possible solution. They could also leave early if they wanted. They could set up a rotating early leave roster, anything feasible. Nothing was acceptable. The crux of it was that none of them wanted to leave early unless they had a personal appointment. So if they chose to stay until 5 due, I should fit in with the team and do the same. Exhausted, David called me into his office. He said he'd tried everything, but the team just wouldn't back down. I asked if a transfer to another division was possible, one that wouldn't mind my hours. That's when he gave me a piece of information that made me smile and decide to stay. I asked if he could just manage the complaints for the next couple of weeks because I had a plan. A team meeting was called in late October to finally resolve the working hours debate. I sat back and let my colleagues, especially Sarah and Mark, get themselves worked up. I added a few comments here and there to rile them up further. When I felt the moment was right, I held my hands up and conceded defeat. I asked the team, "So would you all prefer it if I just worked 9 to 5 like everyone else?" They all agreed immediately. Shooting a quick glance at David, I repeated, "We should all work the same hours, right? That's the argument, that I'm the only one not here until 5. Unanimous agreement. So I suggested, "Great, then let's make it official. As a team, we all work 9 to 5, starting tomorrow." Silence. David spoke up, saying it was a wonderful idea and a brilliant solution. He said he'd implement it immediately. The whole division would come off flexi time and work identical hours, which is precisely what the team had been asking for. Now, this is a good time to mention that the ICC Cricket World Cup was happening. Being in the U.S., but not originally from here, I had no strong feelings about the tournament. It was being held in India, so due to the time difference, many of the key matches featuring popular teams were broadcast live in the morning, Austin time. This meant my co-workers could watch the games at home and still saunter in by 10 a.m. I piped up, "Well, this is great. Now, I won't be the only one covering the phones from 9 to 10 a.m. It was getting pretty hectic handling that first rush alone." They had, of course, conveniently forgotten that they'd left me to answer the phone solo for that entire hour every single day since I joined the team. One colleague, Mark, tried to object, but David cut him off, reminding everyone that this uniform schedule was exactly what they had demanded. "Oh, and since I can't leave early anymore," I added, "there's no need for me to work through my lunch break to cover for everyone else." I had offered to do this to placate them initially, and because I often skipped lunch anyway. "I'll need my full hour to recharge. Otherwise, I'll be exhausted working straight through to 5 p.m. This meant the quarterfinal and semi-final matches they had planned to watch, which were scheduled during the Austin lunch hour and were being shown on the big screen in the main conference room, would now have a restricted viewing time of just 1 hour. I finished by saying, "I can see I was being selfish. I'm really pleased we're all fitting in together now." I also chose not to remind them that I wouldn't be there to process the previous day's payment reports anymore, a task I voluntarily handled between 8 and 9 a.m. because it was quiet. I did enjoy watching their faces slowly realize they'd have to split that extra work themselves the next morning. And that piece of information David gave me 2 weeks prior. In a cost-cutting exercise, our Austin office was scheduled to relocate to a new building in North Austin the following January, which happened to be a 15-minute drive from my house. Ultimately, the removal of flexi time worked in my favor, as my commute was about to be slashed. It was incredibly difficult not to pull a smug face when the relocation was officially announced a month later. I think the phrase, "don't cut off your nose to spite your face," definitely applied here.